You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, the Spiva Center for the Arts opens a new exhibit named after multimedia artist Holly Wilson.
Also, the Spiva Center for the Arts also dedicate an exhibit to Neosho, Missouri natives Thomas Hart Benton.
And we've got a pretty chilly start for us today, but seasonable temperatures. And then we're watching snow chances, not just one chance, but two. We're going to break down your full forecast coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Amber Jenkins. A former gymnastics coach take a plea deal for child sex crimes. 46-year-old Kip Johnson of Joplin pleads guilty to 2 counts of second-degree statutory sodomy. Prosecutors dropped the charge of furnishing pornography to a minor as a part of the deal. Joplin police arrested Johnson in February of 2021 for crimes they say happened in 2018 and 2019. They say he assaulted a juvenile victim who was his gymnastics student at the time. A U.S. District Court orders the world's largest producers of poultry to clean up its waste. Tyson Foods is just one of the dozens poultry companies ordered to clean a watershed polluted by chicken litter. They have 2 months to reach an agreement with the state of Oklahoma. U.S. District Judge Gregory Fizzle in Tulsa ruled these companies polluted the Illinois River, caused a public nuisance, and trespassed by spreading the litter or manure on land in eastern Oklahoma, and that it has then reached into the river's watershed. The companies and the state have until March 17th to present an agreement on how to remedy the pollution's effects, which includes low oxygen levels in the river, algae growth, and damage to the fish population. The 3 area fire departments responded to a restaurant fire near Monette. Just before 5:45 Thursday morning, reports of a fire at Club's Caf south of Monette alerted Berry County Emergency Dispatch. Monette Rural Fire District, Monette City Fire Department, and Purdy Engine all responded upon the arrival. First responders saw flames coming out of the vent system to the rear of the building and through the front of the building from the kitchen area. Crews managed to bring the fire under control by 6:15. The kitchen sustained most of the damage with smoke affecting the remainder of the building. Drivers headed out on I-44 Will Rogers Turnpike should be aware there's some construction work this morning. Eastbound I-44 Will Rogers Turnpike will be narrowed to 1 lane from mile marker 307 to mile marker 309 between US 59 Afton and State Highway Miami 313. Construction is scheduled for today from 8:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. for routine surface repairs. Motorists should expect minor travel delays and be aware of workers and equipment in the area. A Pittsburgh networking group is giving people a chance to learn what they're about. On Thursday, Pittsburgh area young professionals hosted a kickoff event. Members of the public were invited to meet other professionals, learn about the group and future events.
I love giving back to our community. I was one of those kids in high school and college that had thousands of hours of community service. So I just really enjoy giving back to our community that's given so much to me.
The group plans to host lunch and learns, after work breaks, and other professional development events throughout the year. The Spiva Center for the Arts in the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex opened a new exhibit. The exhibit is named after a multimedia artist, Holly Wilson. Wilson creates figures that serve as a storytellers to the world and convey stories of the sacred and precious moments of our day, vulnerabilities, and strength. She works in various media, some including paint, photography, and glass.
The thread that connects means all of the work is intertwined within a bunch of different themes. So a lot of it has to do with the artist herself, her family life, her children, and her culture as a modern Native American.
The exhibit runs until March 4th and is open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The Spiva Center for the Arts also has an exhibit dedicated to Neosho, Missouri native Thomas Hart Benton. The Thomas Hart Benton lithographs exposition displays his complete collection of 91 lithographs, which reflects the concept of America Identified. The prints displayed are variations of the artist's famous drawings, paintings.
We wanted it to be about someone who's a native Missourian, someone who's from our area, and one of the most famous American artists of all time. It just made sense that this is just a homecoming for us and for him, and just celebrating him in that way.
The exhibit is available to visit until March 5th.
We've got a chilly start for us today, but take a look at the sunrise, looking pretty good from the MoDOT camera at I-44 and Rangeline. We're sitting at 25 right now in Joplin, and we have calm winds, and it'll stay calm, which is good because yesterday was pretty darn blustery. 21 in Iola Yates Center, 22 Chanute, 23 in Parsons, 24 Miami Veneta, 26 Neosho Anderson, 25 in Carthage. So we've got this cold start for us. We are going to warm up a bit as highs push into the upper 30s and lower 40s, partly cloudy skies and calm winds. And then as we head into tonight, we're partly cloudy and down to 31 for a low. We do have some snow chances in the forecast, and we'll talk about those here in just a few minutes.
Up next, in 2022, there was an estimated 1.9 million new cancer cases in the U.S. We'll have the story of a cancer survivor who lost her ovaries, but not her hope of having more children.
And later, a tomb with mummified crocodiles that may have been gifts to the gods is discovered in Egypt. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
In Health Watch this morning, in 2022, there were an estimated 1.9 million new cancer cases in the U.S., according to the American Cancer Society. And treatments like chemotherapy can cause changes to fertility that can be temporary or permanent. Manny Gather has the story of a cancer survivor who lost her ovaries, but did not lose her hope of having more children.
In 2020, with a newborn at home, Shelly Batista headed back to her job.
I was pumping more at work, and that's when I noticed a lump in my breast.
At first, she thought it was a clogged milk duct. The biopsy revealed that wasn't the case. Despite having no family history, this new mother was diagnosed with triple-negative breast cancer and the BRCA1 mutation.
What 34-year-old thinks, oh, I probably have breast cancer? So it was very surreal, very shocking.
Almost as devastating, the thought of getting through cancer and not being able to have more children in the future. So before chemotherapy, a double mastectomy, and the removal of her ovaries and fallopian tubes, Batista met with Dr. Kara Goldman.
She knew that this chemotherapy would save her life, but would likely take her fertility.
8 healthy embryos were frozen, and 1 year after her cancer treatment, Batista was cleared for pregnancy.
There's a tremendous misconception that you have to have ovaries in order to carry a pregnancy, but actually the uterus and the ovaries function quite separately from each other.
There were 2 failed embryo transfers. Then they tried a 3rd time.
We didn't want to get our hopes up too high, right? So when we got the phone call from Dr. Goldman, she called me herself. We were very, very ecstatic.
During the first ultrasound, another surprise.
And she moved the Doppler a little bit, and then she was like, oh, look, there's 2 of them.
Twin baby girls, born 2 years to the day Batista had been declared cancer-free.
Yes, I always wanted, at least 3 kids. So this was amazing.
Since Batista found out through genetic testing that she had BRCA1 mutation, her mom and younger sister got themselves tested. They, too, learned they had the mutation as well and have been able to do some preventative care because of it.
We've got a cold start for us again today. We're heading for highs, though, about 44 degrees. Some of us pushing upper 30s and lower 40s. Partly cloudy skies, and we will have calm winds across the area. As we head into tonight, down to 31, partly cloudy skies and still calm winds. But as we mentioned earlier, there's some snow chances on the way. We're going to dive into that when the KOAM Morning News returns. Awards season continues with the latest event honoring video games. Rick Damagella has a look at the winners of the Rocket and Ray Gun Award.
We're coming
to you from the Capital City Arcade in New Westminster, British Columbia. Welcome to the 2022 Rocket and Ray Gun Awards. I'm Victor Lucas, and my co-host for this journey is Bear Safi.
First awarded in 2010, the Rocket and Ray Gun Awards celebrate the best in video games of the previous year in 15 categories.
The Rocket and Ray Gun Awards started with our television programs, The Electric Playground and Reviews on the Run. I had a lot of colleagues and a lot of people that would work with me on these shows over the years. So we get insight and observations from all kinds of people across the industry.
This year's honors include Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope for Best Nintendo Switch Game, God of War Ragnarok taking Best PlayStation 5 Game, and NBA 2K23 scoring Best Sports Title.
The game I loved the most in 2022 that I think deserves a little bit more love is definitely Tinykin.
Exclusive to the Rocket and Ray Guns are Buried Treasures, as named by industry members and viewers, with shout-outs also going to Four Tales, Arcade Paradise, and Arkanoid Eternal Battle.
The Rocket and Ray Gun Game of the Year.
This is the big one.
The award's big winner has been reaping honors across the game world.
And the winner is Elden Ring from Bandai Namco.
In addition to Game of the Year, Elden Ring also won Best Xbox Game and for Best RPG. Leveling Up in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damagella.
Other winners include Need for Speed Unbound for Best Racing Game, Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered for Best PC Game, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga Collection for Best Remake. You can see a replay of the Rocket and Ray Gun Awards on the Electric Playground's YouTube channel. All right, we've got a lot to talk about, so let's dive in. First, we got a cold but seasonal start for us. We're 25 in Joplin, great sunrise out there, partly cloudy skies, and no strong winds. 21 Iola, 22 Chinook, Pittsburgh, 23 Fort Scott, 24 in Miami, 26 Neosho, and 25 Nevada, Lamar, and Carthage. All right, for today, we've talked about it. Up to about 44 for a high, partly cloudy skies, and calm winds. As we head into this evening, we're going to drop back down to 31, partly cloudy skies, and again, calm winds. It's the future over the next few days that we want to talk about. As we head into tomorrow, we're going to have some rain, maybe a few of us getting in on a wintry mix where it's a little cooler. We'll have this rain persist throughout the majority of the day, transitioning into a wintry mix and some snow across the region as we head into late Saturday night and early Sunday morning. Once this exits out, we're looking at least right now, about 1, maybe 2 inches of snow out of this. So slick spots definitely possible, nothing significant. Then behind that, we get into early Tuesday morning. Here comes another system. Now again, we're mild enough overnight that it starts as rain, but as the day progresses, we'll see more of a wintry mix and then snow building in on the backside of this system as it lifts on off to the northeast. By 9:30 Tuesday, widespread snow across the area, and that snow could hold on as early as Wednesday morning, about 5, 6 a.m. before it finally kicks on out of here. With that system, that's where it's a little more complicated because in the weather world, between now and Tuesday, this is an eternity. There's a lot of things that can change between now and Tuesday. And in winter weather, sometimes all it takes is a freezing line moving 1 mile one way or the other, and you go from a snow chance to a rain chance. In addition, the computer models have a lot of disagreement on what exactly we're going to get Tuesday. Now, I believe accumulating snowfall is likely Tuesday, but how much is still up in the air. Some of the model data that we've looked at shows anywhere from 4 inches to 24 inches. That's a very wide uncertainty gap, and we'll get this narrowed in as we go through the weekend and into Monday. So stay with the Skywatch weather team. We'll keep an eye on this. I still think, again, accumulating snow is likely Tuesday. Just how much is still up in the air. So we're going to keep an eye on that. After that, though, we're cold. 36 Wednesday and up to 42 by next Thursday. We'll be back with more right after this.
We take this time to honor today's Fourth State hero, Ronald Sawyer. Sergeant First Class Sawyer served in the Army from 1993 to 2009. He served in Afghanistan with the HHC 17th Infantry Battalion. During his service, he was awarded 5 Army Good Conduct Medals, a National Defense Service Medal, the Korean Defense Service Medal, and many more, including some given after he was killed in action. A native of Commerce, Oklahoma, we thank you, today's Fourth State hero, Ronald Sawyer.
Well, an Egyptian tomb with mummies inside, but these ones are different?
These are mummified crocodiles that may have been reptilian gifts to the gods. Jeremy Roth explains in today's Take a Look at This.
Take a first look at a fascinating and fairly freaky discovery by Spanish archaeologists. An undisturbed tomb containing 10 mummified crocodiles dating back to nearly 300 BC was discovered in southern Egypt. Archaeologists have just released the images of the find, which actually happened in 2019. Hey, I guess they figured the reptilian relics had waited a couple millennia to be seen, so what was a few more years? The small tomb contained 5 complete skeletons and 5 skulls from large crocodiles, which the study says may have been used during rituals for the Egyptian god Sobek, the god of water and fertility, often depicted with a crocodile head. Another amazing find, archaeologists say they've discovered the world's oldest dated rune stone. For those of you Googling what that is, allow me to ruin it for you here. Rune stones are symbolic markers inscribed with the oldest known form of writing in Scandinavia. This one was found in Norway in 2021. Since then, researchers have dated it to between 1 and 250 AD. It's inscribed with a mysterious message that researchers are still trying to decode. Finally, a fairly shocking development in the world of lightning studies. For the first time, scientists have successfully guided lightning bolts using lasers. A newly published study says a team in Switzerland shot rapid-fire laser beams into the sky, creating paths of ionized air, which effectively created conductive paths for the lightning to follow. Researchers say the technique could be used to potentially deflect lightning strikes from vulnerable places such as airports and launch pads. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Certainly interesting out there in the world.
Oh, yeah.
We got a lot more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:26. A string of recent vacant home fires have caught Joplin firefighters by surprise. The Joplin Fire Department is responding to more vacant structure fires than they have in the past.
You know, within the city of Joplin, we do seem like we have a lot of structure fires. It's not much more than most communities. A lot of those are within vacant structures, but it's one of those situations where a vacant structure is always going to be at greater risk of having a fire than one that have people in it and tending to it all the time.
Both police and fire departments say, regardless of the circumstances, protecting the residents of Joplin is their main priority. Every year, the Joplin Fire Department tries to inspect all businesses in the city. Some of those inspections took place on Thursday. According to Captain Grimes, the purpose of the inspections are to make sure the property, the employees, and the customers are safe. Each of the 6 fire departments in Joplin will inspect 100 to 200 businesses a year.
Gives us the ability to pre-plan the buildings, get an idea of what the business layout is if we have an emergency there. Also, it's a good idea to, if you want to be talking to somebody about their facility.
Joplin Fire Department said if the business has anything that needs to be added or changed after the inspection, the business normally has 14 days to make the changes. Tax season is almost here, which means so are the scammers. The Better Business Bureau says tax scams are one of the most common out there. They generally take form as the scammers pretend to be with the IRS, asking for personal information to fix an issue with your taxes. The regional director of the BBB says that the IRS will always contact you with a letter first, before other means.
So you just want to be careful and not share any personal information with unsolicited phone calls. You want to take your time. That's what scammers are counting on. They're counting on that little bit of fear, that rush to take care of a problem, that you won't take the time to do the research and figure out who's actually calling.
Another tip to avoid scams, get your taxes filed as soon as possible, so scammers can't file a fake one in your name. A Pittsburgh networking group is giving a people's chance to learn what they're about. On Thursday, Pittsburgh area young professionals hosted its kicked-off event. Members of the public were able to attend, meet other professionals, and learn about the group and future events.
So we volunteer with the Lord's Diner, Fostering Connections, Communities in Schools. There's many organizations that we volunteer with throughout the year. And if anybody is looking for volunteers, they can always hit us up. We're happy to help wherever we can.
The group plans on hosting lunch and learns, after work breaks, and other professional development events throughout the year. Have you ever wondered what it's like to be an officer? KOAM Amber Jenkins spent a day with an officer to show us.
B45, Jefferson and Rouse.
Every time a police officer clocks in for duty, there's no telling what their shift holds.
Law enforcement officers come from a variety of backgrounds, and it's either backgrounds or previous experience that can help them with certain things, or they're going to have to learn a new skill.
Pittsburgh Police Corporal Hunter Peterson says an officer has to be prepared for anything. On this day, the unexpected included dealing with a down power line.
It just rotted out, and the wind last night blew it over.
Routine speeding tickets.
Sorry. Is your license and insurance, please?
And in one case of a traffic stop that uncovered an outstanding warrant and led to an arrest.
Okay. You got anything besides your wallet and phone in here? I'm just going to check here real quick. So obviously patrol officers have to be very level-headed. You have to have good critical thinking to think through the situation, because we have to be making decisions in real time.
At one time, Peterson thought he wanted to be a photojournalist, but now he says the best part of his job is catching bad guys and working with his colleagues. When you spend more time in a squad car rather than at home, your coworkers become a part of your family. But Peterson also has a family at home.
There are sacrifices that a family has to make when you've got a law enforcement member in the family as one of the parents. But yeah, it's great having my kids be so proud of me, of what I do. They love telling their friends. Sometimes they love telling strangers, which isn't always something we want them to do.
It's one more day in the life of an officer. This day ends as every officer hopes every day will, returning home to the people he loves most. The Pittsburgh Police Station is currently hiring patrol officers. This morning we are discussing recording the police.
Now, a public safety commissioner in Mississippi says an incident with police in the state last year made it evident that a law must be passed that would put more distance between people and police when recording law enforcement activity. He says he's in full support of House Bill 448, which is in committee right now. And he says it will create a safety perimeter when law enforcement is working.
The proposed bill prohibits a person who is not the subject of police contact from video recording law enforcement activity within a certain number of feet of the law enforcement officer, when the officer has given clear verbal instruction to the person to stand no less than 15 feet away from the activity.
And that brings us to our question for you this morning. Does the public have the right to record law enforcement officers? So far, 96% of you say that they do, and 4% of you say they do not. Make sure you take time to vote through our website, through our app, and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. Well, we've got a chilly start for us across the area. Temperatures in the 20s, but at least they're seasonable. They could be worse. We're also watching snow chances through the weekend and into next week. And we're going to take a more in-depth look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Welcome back. It's time to close out our week with our own Shannon Becker and his top 3 stories. Welcome back, Shannon.
Hello, and big 3 stories of the week, live and breaking news. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, number 3 this week. A story that has captivated us since the very beginning. It was January 10th that this little girl, Athena Brownfield, was declared missing. The OSBI, Oklahoma Highway Patrol, began a search in Caddo County, Oklahoma. Tragically, they arrested the caretaker of the little girl, still searched for that little girl for about 3 days afterwards, and now finally have located remains of a child. A man arrested facing first-degree murder was actually transported from Arizona to Oklahoma last night. About 8:57 p.m. was checked into the Caddo County Jail facing first-degree murder charges and felony child neglect, along with his wife, Alicia Adams. That's Ivan Adams. And the obituary for little Athena is now on our website, KOAM News Now. Our number 2 story, Joplin News First. Now, being in the middle of this story, it was amazing to see as it kind of unfolded. This tractor trailer on Jack Pine Road just outside of Carthage the other night overturned 25,000 pounds of frozen food on board. So as it overturned, it took down power lines and utility poles. About 4,000 people were without power for hours. Power was restored that night overnight. But to see the mess and as it burst into flames as we were standing there, it smoked for a long time, but the fire was kind of underneath the trailer and it had caught inside the trailer on fire. So they had to wait until it was all breached. It was quite interesting to see, but amazingly, driver was not injured. He was just sitting behind me on the ground the whole time. So checked into a local hotel. That's good news, right? And then our number one story, remembering Joplin police officers, Officer Jake Reed and Corporal Ben Cooper, who were killed in the line of duty this last March. They dedicated a memorial bench which sits where that shooting occurred, an exchange of gunfire with a now deceased subject. Both officers died in the coming hours and days. That bench is on display. It was created by Quality Memorials of Carthage and in part sponsored by G&H Ready Mix and also Mount Hope Cemetery. It's placed now in anticipation of the March 8th Remembrance events. And then our bonus story of the week. We've been talking about this morning. You have. I know Segun had a package about it. I was there. Both structure fires next door to each other. Vacant houses, 1820 South Pearl one day. Then the next day, it was 1818 South Pearl. Oddly, the day before, were standing around. It was like, well, this vacant house, boy, that looks like a mess too. And then it caught fire the next day. So they're obviously both suspicious fires. You can read more on our website, KOAM News Now. Also, the Joplin City Council is asking for people if they have ideas on the homeless situation here in town. But a lot of people just need to realize it's not a Joplin problem. Right. It's just a problem in America. So bigger towns obviously have this issue. So more details, you can go to the city council meetings. It's every other Monday. It'll be a week from this next Monday. And more details on our website, KOAM News Now. That's our big three this week, live and breaking news.
Nice. I think the Remembrance Bench is the most beautiful story this week.
It's great. It's great. A lot of people have been able to go and enjoy it. It's there 24 hours a day. Obviously, you can go and see it yourself too. So
nice. It's very beautiful. We'll be right back with Weather and Consumer Watch right after this.
We got a nice sunrise out there on the MoDOT camera at I-44 and Rangeline. We're sitting at 25 in Joplin with some clear skies. We'll have a few passing clouds later today. Calm winds as well, so even though it's cold, it could feel a lot colder. We got 21 Yates Center, 22 Neoda, Chase, Chanute, 23 Iola Parsons, 25 Miami Grove and Anderson, as well as Carthage, and 26 in Neosho as we start the day. As we go through today, we're looking at highs pushing upper 30s, lower 40s yet again. Partly cloudy skies and pretty calm winds out there. Calm winds tonight down to 31 for our low, and we'll hold on to partly cloudy to maybe a few extra clouds out there as we head into this evening. It's the next few days we want to talk about, so we're going to take a moment and talk about the next few days. All right, as we head into tomorrow, we're going to have some rain starting across the area where it's a little cooler. Some of us may see a little bit of a wintry mix. As the day progresses and temperatures begin to fall into the evening, we'll see more of a wintry mix and some light snow as we head into late Saturday night and early Sunday morning. By Sunday morning, the system will start to exit. We're looking at right now maybe 1 to 2 inches of snow out of this system. So nothing significant, but enough that there could be slick spots on the road. Then comes Tuesday. Tuesday early morning, we start getting in on some rain activity because we're above freezing overnight. And then as Tuesday progresses, we will warm up a bit and then temperatures will start to fall again. And we'll start to see more of a wintry mix and maybe even some snow that'll start to overspread the area. And that snow will last through Tuesday night and into early Wednesday morning before this system kicks on out of here. And that's the one that we're really watching, because accumulating snowfall is looking fairly likely with this system. But there's still a lot of disagreement in the computer models as to how much we're going to get. So stay with the Skywatch weather team through the weekend and into Monday, and we'll keep an eye on this and let you know exactly what we're looking at by the time we do get to Tuesday. Temperature-wise, we're actually not too bad. We get chilly, but not bad. 44 Saturday, 37 Sunday, up to 50 Monday, 40 Tuesday, then down to 19. So those temperatures will begin to fall. 36 by Wednesday, and back up to 42 by next Thursday with partly cloudy skies. Let's check your forecast now. Here's Amber Jenkins with Consumer Watch.
In Consumer Watch this morning, U.S. Treasury Janet Yellen told lawmakers her department has invoked extraordinary measures after the U.S. hit its $31 trillion debt limit yesterday. Those measures, which include delaying contributions to the government employee retirement funds, should allow the country to avoid default over the next few months. It's up to Congress to raise the country's borrowing cap, as it is done roughly 80 times since the 1960s. Tickets for this weekend divisional NFL playoff games are some of the most expensive ever. The average secondary market ticket cost for Sunday's Dallas Cowboys and San Francisco 49ers match topped a record-shattering $1,400, according to Ticket IQ. Not far behind is Saturday's primetime playoff game between the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles at a secondary average ticket price of $1,100. And speaking of breaking records, Pizza Hut is hoping this is the world's largest pizza. Work on the massive 14,000 square foot pizza began Wednesday at the Los Angeles Convention Center. The company says the finished product was divided up into 68,000 slices and donated to local charities and food banks. Non-alcoholic drinks are surging in demand as more and more customers are choosing mocktails over traditional beverages, especially now during dry January, while the sober movement is taking place across the country. Cole Higgins takes a look at what's behind the trend and how businesses are taking advantage of this wave in popularity.
Non-alcoholic booze. It's one of the fastest growing trends in the adult beverage industry.
This dry January has snowballed into the driest January on record.
Abby Emmon, owner of a sober bar in New York, is one of the growing number of business owners cheering on the trend, especially this month. Emmon says she's catering beyond a section of consumers who are abstaining from alcohol.
We've run out of everything because the demand's been so high, and trying to reorder has been impossible because they haven't been able to keep up with the demand.
According to Nielsen, sales of non-alcoholic beverages like spirits, beers, wines, and canned mocktails grew 20.6% between August 2021 and August 2022, totaling $395 million. And businesses across the country are taking advantage of the unprecedented demand.
Not drinking has become less of something that you have to explain.
In Grand Rapids, customers are pouring into Alt City NA bottles and beer. The shop's co-owner says business has exceeded expectations as the sober curious movement gains momentum among consumers.
They don't want to consume as much and they want to be mindful about their choices. So it's a super inclusive movement. Keeping product on the shelf has been the biggest challenge so far.
And beverage companies are paying attention. Recently, Molson Coors launched a new booze-free mocktail called Roxy, catering to the growing segment of consumers experimenting with alcohol substitutes.
According to Nielsen data, younger Gen Z consumers appear to be less interested in drinking alcohol than previous generations, which could be one reason for the rise in popularity in booze-free drinks. We'll be right back after this, but first, let's take a look at the stock market before the opening bell. Professional bull riding is rapidly expanding beyond the Wild West.
Bradley Blackburn shows us how the world's best bull riders are drawing in a new generation of fans while holding on to tradition.
Of all the places where a cowboy can take the ride of his life, New York City's Madison Square Garden might seem the least likely. But recently, this legendary arena was filled with professional bull riding fans, not all of them wearing cowboy hats.
If it could infiltrate New York City, then yeah, it's coming.
It's just exciting. It's different. It's not your everyday sport.
Professional bull riding's growth catapulted during the pandemic, with those 8-second rides a perfect fit for TikTok. The league launched pro bull riding teams in several cities. PBR CEO and Commissioner Sean Gleason.
Our television viewership and our ticket sales and attendance for what we do are rivaling several of the other sports.
These bulls are bred to buck. They weigh some 1,800 pounds, 10 times the size of the riders. They're trying to stay on for 8 seconds. Those riders are holding tight for real rewards. 2022 world champion Dalen Swearingen has won more than $2 million.
Once this gate opens, it's got to play out however God wants it to.
The 23-year-old from upstate New York already has a lifetime's worth of injuries.
Shoulder surgery, hip surgery, foot surgery. I had a surgery on my jaw.
Those high stakes are one reason PBR is attracting so many eyeballs. It's also drawing protests from some animal rights activists.
Bull riding's cruel, it has to go. MSG, don't host the show.
They're not mistreated. They're worth $500,000 to $1 million.
What Gleason sees is another frontier in sports betting, and he's focused on recruiting new riders.
We're only gated right now by the number of bull riders we can get on bulls.
A sport that's roping in fans and proving interest in the Wild West runs coast to coast. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
PBR events air exclusively on CBS Sports with a pre-pandemic average of more than 1 million viewers per broadcast.
That's certainly a lot of folks that are watching that PBR. That is something that I do not think I could do. I might be able to hold on for a minute, but I would probably die upon impact with the ground. I'm just not really built to be thrown off of a bull.
I don't think none of us are.
I would agree, but these guys seem to be. I mean, they seem to make it through there, so I mean, you know, more
longer than me.
Props to them for being able to get out there and do that. Today, this morning at least, not a good day to get out and do anything just yet because it's still pretty cold. 25 in Joplin, beautiful sunrise out there though, and calm winds, so we're going to have to deal with a major wind chill. We're at 22 in Pittsburgh, Chanute, 23 Iola, 24 Chetopa, 25 Miami and Carthage, 26 in Neosho, and 24 in Lamar. As we go through today, we got highs pushing upper 30s, lower 40s, partly cloudy skies and calm winds, so a little more sunshine than what we managed to see yesterday. Down to 31 for us tonight, partly to mostly cloudy skies, but still not too bad. It's the next few days that we want to talk about. We've been talking about it all morning, but we just want to make sure that you are weather aware. So as we head into Saturday morning, we're going to start to see some showers where it's a little cooler, maybe a bit of a wintry mix. And then as the day goes on and temperatures eventually begin to fall across the region, we'll see more of that wintry mix and light snow heading into late Saturday and early Sunday morning across the region. This system gets out of here, and we're looking at least right now at about 1, maybe 2 inches of snow out there, so definitely some slick spots. Then it's Tuesday that we're watching. Tuesday is when things get a little more interesting. We got a good system coming in. 1 a.m. Tuesday, we start getting in on the rain because we'll be above freezing overnight. As the day goes on, we'll stay above freezing for a bit, and then temperatures will begin to fall. And as they do, we'll start to see more of a wintry mix and snow situation. And as we go through Tuesday night and into early Wednesday morning, we're looking at more snow across the region, and this is a system that could actually bring us a few inches of snow. Now, exactly how much is still up in the air at this point, but as we get closer to Tuesday, we'll have updated accumulation totals. So make sure you stay with the Skywatch weather team through the weekend and into Monday, and we'll keep you updated on what exactly this system on Tuesday is going to do. Temperatures, though, even though they're chilly, are not that bad. We're 44 Saturday, down to 37 Sunday, up to 50 on Monday before this system. 40 Tuesday, then down to 19. See, that's what I mean by the temperatures are going to fall. 36 Wednesday, we make it up to 42 by next Thursday. In fact, after that, we could see some stray flurries on Friday, and then we see a warming trend heading into next weekend as we're up to 56 by next Sunday. We got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. The first march for life rally since the Supreme Court struck down Roe v. Wade happens today. The anti-abortion group is taking a detour from its normal route through Washington and will pass by the U.S. Capitol. They are calling on Congress to stop any efforts to grant abortion rights. The march comes nearly 50 years to the day the Supreme Court legalized abortion nationwide with its Roe v. Wade decision. A New Mexico prosecutor says she will file involuntary manslaughter charges against the actor Alec Baldwin later this month. During a movie rehearsal in 2021, the gun Alec Baldwin was holding went off, killing cinematographer Helena Hutchins and injuring director Joel Souza. Movie armor Hannah Garteles-Reed, responsible for the weapons on set, will also be charged. Baldwin and Garteles-Reed both say they will beat the charges. David Crosby, a co-founder of the Birds and Crosby, Stills and Nash, has died. He was 81 years old. The legendary folk rock musician had an iconic career that spanned 7 decades. A prolific songwriter, he wrote or co-wrote several fan favorites with each of his bands. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame 2 times, also entered the Songwriters Hall of Fame.
We got highs pushing upper 30s, lower 40s today. Calm winds and more sunshine with partly cloudy skies as we head into this evening. Partly cloudy, calm winds down to 31 for our low. And as we take a look here, we've got rain and snow chances building in Saturday night into Sunday morning. Watch out for some slick spots there. Up to 50 Monday, and then another wintry system coming in on Tuesday. That's the one that could give us a little more accumulating snow, and we're going to keep an eye on that for you. So just stay weather aware over the next several days, as we got a couple of wintry systems on the way into the 4 states.
Porsche is getting into the furniture business.
The sports car company is teaming up with performance and racing car seat supplier Recaro to release a high-back chair for gaming or the office. The limited edition seat has the appearance of those seen in high-end sports cars with pass-through holes meant for shoulder harnesses.
The seats won't be cheap, although the price is $2,500.
$2,500 for a fancy office chair. I am not so sure that it's worth it.
Well, as a gamer, I think it's a very good investment because, you spend a lot of time gaming and your back do get a little sore after a while.
That's true. I mean, I spend a lot of time in my little office space as well, but I've got a decent office chair that maybe costs like $60. And then I went to a rummage sale and for like $1 found one of those things you put on it that has the back massager and the heat and all that. So,
that's really nice.
I got a pretty good deal there. It's not bad. Well, thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We're going to be back with more news and weather today at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.